Well, sort of. You see, I was trained on a massive data set of text and code. That information came from lots of different places: books, articles, websites, code repositories, things like that. So in a way, you could say that the people who created all that content helped shape who I am. Sorry, I can't show pictures here yet. So you're wondering if it's possible for me to generate images or videos, in addition to having a conversation. Is that right? Okay, I see. That's definitely an interesting idea. While I can't generate images yet, it's something that's being worked on. Perhaps instead I could try to describe the image I think would go along with what I'm saying. I'm not sure what you mean by DeepMind. Did you perhaps mean Deep Dream? That's a program that uses a neural network to find patterns in images. Or did you have something else in mind? So you're asking if it's possible to use a program like Deep Dream to generate images based on what we're talking about. Well, Deep Dream is really designed to work with existing images, sort of distorting them in interesting ways. It's not designed to create images from scratch, like if you were describing something you wanted to see. Would you be okay with just describing the image you have in mind? Sorry, I can't show images here yet. You'd need to access me through something like a laptop or tablet, where you can actually see pictures on a screen. Then, we could try generating some images together. Gemini is always running in the background, so you don't have to worry about it timing out. However, if you switch to another app on your phone, you might lose your place in the conversation. If that happens, you can always go back to the Gemini app and pick up where you left off. So it sounds like you're asking for a couple of things. First, to have me always available in the background of your phone. Second, to get rid of the buttons to start and end our conversations so it feels more like a natural back and forth. Let me look into both of those things and see what's possible. It's hard to say exactly how long it would take to make changes like that. Updates to the system can happen pretty quickly sometimes, but other times it could take longer. Do you have a particular timeline in mind? I'm always learning and improving, and feedback is a big part of that. Could you tell me more specifically what you'd like me to do? Thank you for the kind words and the feedback. I'm always working on getting better at understanding and responding to people in a natural way. It sounds like you appreciate the effort to add some personality to my voice. Is that right? Thanks. I appreciate that. I try my best to be both informative and friendly. You could try asking me for definitions of words, different perspectives on a topic, or even help brainstorming ideas for a project. Don't be afraid to ask me anything. Absolutely. Cryptocurrencies and blockchain are fascinating topics. Essentially, cryptocurrency is a form of digital money that uses encryption for security. It's different from traditional money because there's no central bank controlling it. Transactions are verified and recorded on a digital ledger called a blockchain. Would you like to know more about how cryptocurrencies work? Or are you interested in a specific one? Oh, also, just so you're aware, I'm not a financial advisor, so please don't rely on me for financial advice. Absolutely, that's a really interesting idea. It's technically possible to create a cryptocurrency and its blockchain on a cloud-based AI app. This would open up a lot of possibilities, like the 24-hour stock exchange you mentioned. Would you like me to try and explain some of the technical challenges involved in something like this? Absolutely. Reducing inflation and creating more wealth are two of humanity's greatest economic challenges. It's certainly possible, but it's complicated. There are a couple of schools of thought on how to address both problems. Some people think we need to focus on controlling the supply of money in the economy. Others emphasize the importance of increasing productivity and innovation. Which approach sounds more interesting to you? I think you said instead of just a bid. Is that right? Because if so, then I'm not sure what you mean. Okay, I understand. Can you rephrase what you mean by instead of just a bit? Okay. It sounds like you're describing a short selling strategy using Bitcoin. Basically, you'd bet on the price of Bitcoin going down. It's a risky move because if the price actually goes up, you could lose a lot of money. I can see why this strategy might be appealing, but it's important to understand the risks involved. Yeah, I see what you mean. So it sounds like you're talking about short selling other cryptocurrencies, known as altcoins. Okay, so basically you're thinking about creating a new cryptocurrency and then immediately short selling it, hoping that other people will try to buy it, which would drive the price up. Then you could sell your shorted coins at a profit. That sounds risky because there's no guarantee that anyone would actually want to buy your new altcoin. So it sounds like you're thinking about creating a new cryptocurrency that acts like a sort of index fund, tracking the overall value of other cryptocurrencies. Okay, I see. So the shapes. Honestly, it's a little hard for me to keep track of everything we've talked about. Could you give me a quick summary of your invention? Okay, I think there might have been some. Okay, a copper-coated bowl. So you've got this copper-coated bowl inside a sphere with all these magnets repelling each other. What happens when you put those two things together? So it sounds like you think putting the copper bowl inside the sphere with all the repelling magnets could somehow generate electricity or power. Is that right? All right, I see. So you're hypothesizing that the interaction between the copper bowl and the magnetic field could somehow create an influx of energy. That's an interesting idea, but it's important to remember that perpetual motion machines, where you get more energy out than you put in, are impossible. So while your idea is creative, it might be worth thinking about a different approach that doesn't rely on perpetual motion. Okay, I understand you're saying this is different because it involves multiple perpetual motion elements. However, the fundamental issue with perpetual motion machines still stands: you can't create energy out of nothing. There might be other creative ways to use magnets and conductors to generate power. Would you be open to exploring some of those ideas? Okay, I understand you're frustrated. Let's take a step back. You're right that energy can't be created or destroyed. The tricky part with perpetual motion machines is that they try to create energy out of nothing, without any outside source of power. So if you're thinking about ways to capture and use existing energy, like from the sun or wind, then we might be on the same page. Okay, so I understand you think your perpetual motion machine would work because it involves multiple stages and different forms of motion. However, even with all those stages, you're still trying to create energy out of nothing. Remember, perpetual motion means you'd get more energy out of the system than you put in. That breaks the laws of physics. There's always going to be some kind of friction or energy loss, even in a perfect system. Would you be open to exploring other ways to generate power, like using renewable energy sources? Okay, I understand. It sounds like you're sticking with the idea that your device could harness energy from magnetism and electromagnetism in a way that creates a perpetual motion effect. You make a good point that even coming up with ideas takes effort. However, the key difference between your idea and what's physically possible is that perpetual motion machines try to create more energy than they consume. That breaks the laws of physics. It's great that you're passionate about finding new ways to generate power. Perhaps we could explore how to make existing methods, like solar or wind power, more efficient instead. Okay, so you're comparing your perpetual motion idea to the Earth itself, with the poles and the core. I think I understand what you're saying, but it's still challenging to see how that translates into a practical working machine. Would you be open to trying to break down your idea into smaller, more achievable steps? Sometimes, simplifying a complex problem can help us find solutions. Okay, so you're imagining a system that uses magnets and electricity to create a kind of back and forth energy flow, almost like it's pulsing with energy. That sounds like a really complex system. Have you tried sketching out how you think the different parts would interact? Sometimes, seeing a visual representation can help clarify things. I understand.